So the first thing that we need to do is elect a new president. That is a little bit more humane and compassionate so that these offices, so here's what I've learned. The current administration guts offices. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to how all of a sudden the epidemiology group right before a pandemic was all fired. And different organizations that they have no interest in investing in are not being fully staffed. You're dealing with that challenge. And you're dealing with an administration that, don't get me wrong, please don't misunderstand. It's not that I believe in open borders. We have to have secure borders. It drives me insane when people talk about the border because it's inherently, slanted towards, words that I'm not going to use. But we have to protect our borders, absolutely. But we have farmers that highly depend from migrant workers. We need to ensure that people don't have to leave their country to try to come here and work when we need them, right? So the immigration system is broken, and we must ensure that with new leadership, that we have the systems in place so that when people go and check in, that they have the service that they deserve. Because they're working for our state. So it's extremely important. It's being said that I have in my website that I'm an open border kind of person. That's not true. Strong borders doesn't mean a wall. Most of the people that come here, that stay, that do not have legal documentation because there is no illegal human, come here either through a I-20 visa to study, and then they stay in the country, or they travel here and their visa expires. So the wall, it's not gonna help anything. But hey, I'm with you. We need new administration that is going to completely fulfill the needs that we have so that we can keep people here without breaking their status. And I'm sorry that you went through that. And I wish that I had a solution for it, but I don't. But we need new administration is the short end. She's addressing making sure that healthcare is important, but we also need to protect our planet and make sure that there's clean water. And absolutely, our planet, look, we could fight over policies all day, but if we don't have clean air, clean water, and soil that has been treated well so that it can continue producing food, we're gonna have a whole different set of problems. So our planet is extremely important. One of the things that I'm very proud of in the state of Kansas is number 3 in the nation with wind energy. And the incentives that we had to continue bringing in wind turbines or alternative sources of renewable energy have stopped. One of the things that I will advocate for in Congress is not only for us to continue those programs, but to figure out programs that we can incentivize municipalities to start transitioning into green vehicles, that we work with our farmers to understand what their needs are, because it's way bigger than just, exactly, it's extremely complicated, but our farmers need to be a part of the conversation. And we need to figure out a way of developing storage units at the transmission side for energy. Because if we're able to store the big lines of energy, guess what? It's a game changer. Our biggest problem is the waste. We produce renewable energy, and if we don't use it, guess what? We may be able to sell it into the SPP, which is the network that we have, but we can't store it. And that's the real game changer in order for us to significantly reduce our carbon footprint. So absolutely our planet matters. Those are just some of my ideas on how to tackle this. But remember that when I get to Congress, because we will get to Congress, I will be one of 435 people, and we'll figure out other people that believe in the same things that we do so that your voices get lifted up and we can figure out solutions. Thank you. That's one of the first things that I was talking about. It's atrocious. We cannot expect our kids to have good education without having the tools to do so. So the first thing that I said is I don't like the fact that our federal government is using dollars to invest in private schools. Those dollars should be allocated to counties and areas across the country that need more support, period. No questions asked. The other thing that I'm kind of toasty about, but it's statewide, is the way that the statewide formula is allocated. It's based on the mill levies and on the local taxes, and those are the taxes that are being brought back. So you go to somewhere like Blue Valley schools where they're super affluent, the schools are like ridiculous. I mean, like, I would have never gone to a school like that. It shouldn't be the case. I'm not saying that if you have good income that your schools and your public schools should not be good, but there should be an allocation of funds that is fair so that every single child in our state is able to have the education that they deserve. And with regards to broadband, I'm very proud of Governor Kelly for using some of the CARES dollars to send them to rural communities and to ensure that now if you have food stamps, you're going to have a chip that'll help you have broadband. But that's not a long-term solution. We need to make investments and work with public-private partnerships to ensure that we're extending those broadband lines so that everybody has access to them, because it makes me no good to have an expander if I don't have the network in order for me to be able to use it. Yes, my position in healthcare is not Medicare for all. Although I do believe in dropping the age to enter Medicare to 60 rather than 65. God, I want to take you with me everywhere. Because it helps alleviate some of the pool, and it helps us provide protections to individuals while they're still in their good years, right? And, we need to do that. So the other thing that I do believe in is if you are a member of a union, of a private sector, or an employment that gave you private insurance, keep that insurance. Nobody should mess with that. But what we should do is ensure that the Affordable Care Act is there, which is the only legislation that protects your pre-existing conditions. Don't let anybody look at you and lie to you and say, no, I believe about your pre-existing conditions. I just don't want to support the Affordable Care Act. If somebody says that to you, you say, how? Tell me your plan. Tell me your plan. Come on. Spit it out. Talk to me about the policy. What's the number of the bill? And they're going to say nothing. Well, no, I just believe in protecting your pre-existing condition. No, the ACA protects your pre-existing condition. And the way that it was written with, on purpose, the Medicaid expansion dollars so that people that are having jobs that are not able to afford full health care with pre-existing conditions were able to participate in those funds. I believe that Governor Kelly next year is going to be able to pass that. And I do believe in supporting the ACA. The thing that I will say is if we have an issue that the Supreme Court sides with disbanding it, we still have the legislation. We just have to put it back on the table. At least we have that much. So it'll be scary, but we'll be working on it immediately. And I will be one of those people that will be fighting so that we can get that back. Yes. So my daughter is LGBTQ. And I'm a rabid LGBTQ plus mama. So if we haven't talked enough about it, it's because, quite frankly, I've been super open in Topeka. I was one of the council members that passed the protection ordinance in Topeka, amidst a lot of division and a lot of getting yelled at. And not only that, my biggest concern right now, we were very successful with passing workplace protections in DC. I want to push it further to make sure that we are able to have housing protection, which is one of the second biggest issues for the LGBTQ community, as well as making sure that we keep advocating in case, because right now the LGBTQ community is being threatened by the Supreme Court. I'm sure that you guys saw that there's already talks about this. It's going to be the job of Congress and the Senate to advocate for legislation so that that does not happen. And then the other thing that drives me insane is my best friend is LGBTQ, and she, when she was married to her wife, had this beautiful baby girl. That is the happiest kid. My best friend from college, he and his husband, I married them. They have the cutest baby boy that they adopted. Happiest kid in the universe. Why is it that our LGBTQ friends and family are not able to help with the foster care system? To help eliminate the load. This whole narrative has to stop. Discrimination has to stop. So I'm a huge advocate. I'm a mama on that one. I'm going to ask you from the bottom of my heart. I've said this 1,000 times, but every time I say it, it just gives me chills. Last year in August, I think it was, or September, when we decided to do this, I never would have imagined that I was going to be the mayor of the capital city of Kansas and running for Congress in the middle of 1918 and 1968. We're in the middle of a global pandemic that has taken over almost 220,000 souls in our country. We are in the middle of reliving the civil unrest that we were feeling in 1968, because thanks to our phones, we're able to see horrible things happening across the country to our Black brothers and sisters. And rather than leadership still saying, I love my police department because police officers are heroes, and I also love my Black brothers and sisters that by the hands of some bad cops are being hurt, are dividing us further and saying we will not address this. And I will not cower from the issue. So much so that, as you guys probably have seen, my opponent made a very distasteful video that has been found to be a lie by both the Kansas Reflector and the Iola Register. They fact-checked it, saying that I'm defunding the police, because that's the new thing, right? And that's not true. We love our police officers. Our police officers are people that are giving their life for our community. But there's some police officers that don't understand that the color of our skin does not define the value of our soul. And we need to deal with them swiftly. But we also need to acknowledge that there is a problem. Because if we don't talk about the problems, we have what we have happening right now. And that doesn't mean that I support violence and defacing things, and that's not what I'm supporting. I condone that. I don't agree with that. But we are living in historic times. And we have a moral responsibility to stand with and demand from our leadership compassion. Demand that our leaders have integrity. Demand that our leaders show up, even when we don't always agree. And that is my pledge to you. This is not going to be the only time you see me should I get elected. And even if I don't get elected, I'll probably come back if I'm invited to come. But you see where I'm going? It's about showing up and about being there and not trashing other people and living and exemplifying the behaviors that we want our children to learn and be proud of in the future. Kansas deserves better. So, love you guys. Thank you for being here.